Hello, everybody. Jay Lewis here, the voice of Generation Gaming, at your service once again. Thank you so much for taking the time out to check this video out. And to support us, I appreciate it. Hit the like button down below and subscribe to all our videos as well. Nonetheless, let's get to the topic at hand. And today, that is the recordings from DLC 3, The United Front for Call of Duty World War II, and in particular, The Tortured Path. Now, there are three separate tapes that you can get, one for each chapter, in each chapter, if you will. And each of them have, let's see, one, two, three. Each of them have three recordings, or some of them have three, some of them have two. Now that I look at it. Let's see, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 in total. And what we're going to do today is we're going to go down each of them, listen to each of them, and kind of guess. We have an understanding where we are in the story now, but one thing in the past the recordings have done is kind of give us a indication of where we're going next. That's not always been the case, though. Sometimes, as in the Shadowed Thrones case, Dr. Straub's recordings kind of gave us a deeper explanation into the Shadowed Throne and Berlin and what's going on with him unleashing the Horde of the Untoten. Nonetheless, let's get into it with audio file 37.
Berlin was a dubious victory. With Straub out of the way, his undead forces have surged out of control. The Nazis claim to be driving them, and Hitler himself is boasting about a renewed push for Operation Barbarossa. But our reports tell a different story.
So Hitler basically has signed off on Operation Barbarossa. Now that is, any of you who know anything history about World War II, that was when the Germans decided to attack Russia, and which is a surprise to some, not many to others. Stalin knew it was going to happen. He guessed it. He said Hitler will attack me after we're friends right now, but he will attack me eventually, and that's what happened. But nonetheless, that's what's happening here. But in our story, he wants to have another renewed push because now the fact that the Russians have been pushed out of Berlin, which as we saw in the opening cutscene of the Shadowed Throne, he wants to put on the offensive. But that means having to use the Untoten as soldiers because they are such heavy losses. All right. Audio file 38.
German and Russian lines are broken and scattered along the Eastern Front. The Fuhrer has a tiger by the tail, and his grip is slowly, inevitably slipping. Meanwhile, the Bureau is taking aim right between its yellow eyes. Unified support from the Allied forces have enabled us to push back to make surgical strikes against a regime that has fallen into chaos and madness.
Now, the voice on here sounds like Rideau. I'm pretty sure this is General Rideau. So this is kind of what I was just kind of talking about a little bit, but even more. There is a 2,000-mile front of Untoten zombies, which is crazy. The Germans have not been able to control the Untoten at all. They're just everywhere, and in the simple fact that they are transported around in the Zeppelins makes it even more ridiculous because they can get to other parts of the world. And everything is just in complete and utter chaos. So now they're trying to, the small forces that the Allies have, they're trying to push back and make these small little like commando surgical strikes, but sometimes to no avail. Audio file 39.
Cloak and dagger engagements have become our calling card, as we cannot stand against this endless army of corpses. We have been able to retrieve more of Heinz Richter's enhancements, the weapons and upgrades he intended for the Nazi Schäfers. Now, Schäfer means shepherd in German, and is a term the Nazis use for the soldiers who push the undead horde forwards into battle.
That's interesting. Now, we know the Untoten are controlled by the Geistkraft and previously Straub. We never knew about this. Now, this makes it seem like almost like the Nazis are broken down as a regular army would be. Military, if you will, which is very interesting. So there's maybe a commander, a zombie commander that the others follow. And that is just awesome. I love the details. That's why I really enjoy the story so much for World War II. I don't care, the flack that this story gets, or World War II, COD World War II Nazi Zombies gets is ridiculous. I don't think it's unjustified. I think it's a great game, and should get more credit. Audiophile 40.
Our core team of 4 was able to liberate the first electro-schnall devices, and we have been able to build our own improvements. The science of Geistcraft has been task numero uno for our boys down in Los Alamos, who have been reassigned from other tasks. Agent Marie Fisher has been instrumental in helping them unravel this mess. The discoveries they have been making, they are frightening, astounding.
Now, the electro-schnall devices are the batteries. I'm pretty sure that's what those are. We've seen those in every map. Let's see. The Geistcraft boys, Los Alamos. Now, Los Alamos during World War II was where the atomic bomb was being made by the United States. Now, that's what I'm assuming they mean by other tasks here. And Marie Fisher has got, her brother Klaus, she got so much information from him while he was working in Middleburg and all the technology and everything. So now she knows that, and now she could pass that along to the United States government. But I'm sure there's some pretty horrifying stuff there. Audiophile 41.
In spite of these discoveries, our attempts to combine the 3 parts of Barbarossa's sword have failed. No amount of pressure, heat, or molten steel will match them. Ms. Fisher claimed that the sword's base material is a magnetic monopole, which evoked laughter from Robert, a Harvard boy and head physicist. This resulted in a black eye for him and several apologies for her.
Now, Robert, I can't remember his last name. He's a real person. This is the man who is in charge of creating the atomic bomb. This is horrible. I should know his last name. I'm a big proponent of World War II history, and I enjoy it. I mean, obviously, war is horrible, but I just love the stories and the history of it. They were working together, and she's trying to explain to him, this is more than just man-made science. There's, I don't want to call it magic, but that's kind of what it is. And if you see at the end of Chapter 3, when you put the sword pieces together, it's the Geistcraft that molds the sword into one, all the pieces of the sword into a actual sword. But apparently Robert did not believe that, and for his troubles in Marie's typical fashion, she clocked him. Audiophile 42.
Marie has quickly gained a grudge and respect from our pencil pushers here. Her insights into Straub's work combined with her brother's notes have challenged everything we thought we knew about the atom. Our only conclusion, backed by Professor Hines' research, is that the sword must be taken to Thule to be reforged. That's all well and good, apart from the fact that Thule is an imaginary fairyland invented by a bunch of drunk medieval cartographers.
Now, Thule is said to be located in Antarctica, or the outer northern tip of it anyway. Closer to Australia, but the northern part of that. Now, that's where our players end up in Chapter 3, and then we do realize that we put it together there. That's the only way. You had to go where Barbarossa, it's not said, but many believe that this Chapter 3, this is where Barbarossa is. And if you see the ending cutscene, it looks like Geistcraft is swirling around under the ice. And maybe Barbarossa is now, he's been awakened. Marie wants to destroy the sword. It's getting very, very convoluted, very crazy. Audiophile 43.
Except maybe it isn't. At least Himmler and his boys at the NNF seem to think it was real. We've tracked Nazi search parties to Greenland, South America, Antarctica, all hunting for this prehistoric Hyperborea, the origin of the Aryan race. It was our discoveries during Operation High Jump that pointed to increased Nazi activity in New Swabia.
Now, Nuswabi is supposed to be where our characters are going, or where Thule is supposed to be located at. Now, yes, the Nazis during World War II went as far as Antarctica to create an outpost there, which was supposed to be done and finished by 1946. Obviously, that did not happen. But nonetheless, we now know, or the characters know, where Thule is, or at least have a vague understanding of it. And we also understand that the Nazis were thinking along the same lines. All right, and now final audio file 44.
The Krauts have uncovered something big, and our sources say that is where we need to strike if we want any answers to this sword, the undead, and the nightmare that has befallen us.
Well, that is the vaguest ending to the recordings you could ever ask for, but you know what? Nonetheless, that's how it usually goes with the Call of Duty zombie stories. Now, uncovered, I'm pretty sure what they're talking about is Thule, what they've uncovered there. And it is where we see our characters leave off. Like I said, Marie says we didn't destroy the sword. Jefferson, who is in charge, says the orders are to get the sword and take it back. Now, personally, my own opinion, I think this is a bad idea. Now, where this leaves off into DLC 4 in our conclusion, who knows? It's very hard to tell where we're going to go from here. I'm excited to see what it is. Personally, at first, I was kind of disappointed in the fact that we were getting all these 3 parts all over again that got stolen. I thought it was kind of cheesy, but at the same time, it makes sense. I understand it, especially with the way the Nazis are still very strong and powerful at this time in our story, albeit mainly zombies, but nonetheless. But please, tell me, write down in the comments below, where do you think our story is going? What our conclusion is going to be? What do you think about the Tortured Path and these audio files that you just listened to? And as always, thank you so much for checking out the Generation Gaming channel. I am Jay Lewis. This is Generation Gaming, the video game news outlet made for the gamers, by the gamers. Join the revolution to put the gamers' voice first.